Scammers take advantage of the holiday season to give gifts to themselves using your money to pay for them. In fact, a new AARP holiday shopping survey shows that the entire gift-giving process offers a number of opportunities for scammers to get in on the action for their own benefit. Good evening, I'm Tony St. James. Welcome to this month's edition of Rural America Live with AARP. You know, scammers are shifting into high gear. As the holiday season gets underway, our guests from AARP are here to share the latest with these bad actors and how they're using their talents to get a hold of your hard-earned money. And we want you to join the conversation. Give us a call tonight, 877-283-7570. That's 877-283-7570. All right, question of the month. Are you ready? What text and email scams are you receiving? We're giving away a cooler to 5 lucky on-air callers. You could be a winner. So pick up the phone, join our conversation. We're wasting no time in taking your calls. Phone lines are open, so give us a call, 877-283-7570. 877-283-7570. Now, you don't need to be a member of AARP. You don't have to be 50 or older to win. And as a reminder, you can only win once each calendar year. If you're a past winner and you haven't yet received your tote, be sure to return the AARP volunteer's call, provide an address, and just so you know, AARP pays all shipping costs. Now, if you're not a lucky winner tonight, you can enter AARP Second Chance Sweepstakes. Online, aarp.org/AARP Live. Or you can scan the QR code on the screen to enter. One cooler given away each month. I'll announce the winner later in tonight's show. Rules apply, and you can only win one time in a calendar year. All right, joining me now, Sarah Jennings is Regional Vice President for AARP, and former fraud investigator Doug Shadell. Great to have you both on the show.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah.
All right, so holiday season, scammers, seems like these things go hand in hand, and we're not talking chump change when we're talking about this, are we?
No, I mean, every year, you know, scammers are busy all year long, but when it comes to the holidays, they get real busy because they know all of us are jumping on to buy gifts for our family and friends, and that just makes us more vulnerable because we're doing more. And so there's lots of things we're going to talk about tonight that we all need to look out for and ways to keep ourselves safe so that we actually get those gifts and give them to our loved ones.
And again, we're talking millions of dollars here, aren't we? So...
yeah, I mean, it's a big problem all year, as Sarah mentioned. But this time of year, one of the things we know about people who tend to lose money in scams is that it's the result of having anxiety. Well, who doesn't have anxiety during the holidays?
Right.
So a lot of this is just take a deep breath before you react. Think about what you're doing.
All right, Sarah, when we opened up, I mentioned the new AARP Holiday Shopping and Scam Survey. What did it reveal this time around?
Yeah, so this is a survey that we do every year, and we kind of look at what are the biggest scams. And so one big thing we did a little differently this year is we did a 10-question quiz to folks, and what's unfortunate is that 70% of folks actually failed the test. So that just shows us that we all need to be vigilant. We all need to be paying attention to some of these tips that we're going to share tonight. But the other interesting results from this survey were that 1 in 4 folks that took the survey have had a package stolen from outside their door in the last year. So that's just reminding us all we gotta pay attention to when something's arriving, and if you're not around, maybe a neighbor can grab it for you. We also found that 56% of those who responded have received a fake notification about shipping from the United States Postal Service. So the abbreviation on there is a little screwed up, but we're U.S. Postal Service, FedEx, or UPS, and those are when I get a lot of texts telling me that like I needed to click on something to confirm confirm that the shipment's happening or get information. And so those are happening a lot, and we all need to be vigilant. And the big rule you're going to hear tonight over and over is don't click on those links. And then another one is that 35% of folks who responded to this survey had received a fake donation request. So that's, kind of terrible that scammers are taking advantage of our sort of generosity by asking for fake donations, but it happens a lot. And I think with that one, there are tools that we can share. Both you can check out at charitynavigator.org to make sure that it's a legitimate organization, or you can just do a little bit more research yourself and check to make sure that the organization that is asking you for money really exists, and it's the one that you're being asked to contribute to.
The scammers are so good these days.
They really are.
So good. But when it comes to online shopping, do you actually have some tips that will help us stay safe while we shop?
Online tips, yeah. Well, one of the things I want to say just about the charities is 50% of all the charitable giving that happens in a year happens in the last 2 months of the year, which is why we're being bombarded with charitable solicitations. So beware of that. And before you give, make sure that you know where the money is going. Online, it's, a lot of the problem, as we said before, is impulse buying, especially this time of year. It's late at night. You're trying to catch up with your Christmas shopping, and you click on links. There's a lot of bad things that can happen with some of those links. Sometimes software can be downloaded on your computer that will create a false pop-up. But mainly, it's just take a breath. What I try and do is make a list of all the shopping I need to do and run it by my wife or whomever, and then buy it all at once if possible, maybe in the morning and not in the afternoon when you're tired, because research has shown that a lot more online scam victimization happens late at night or in the afternoons when you're tired. Simple as that. That has nothing to do with Christmas, but it's just a good general online tip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're going to want to stick around for this to really find out the answer of a big question that we've got, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, one thing that we asked in the survey was about if the smartest way to pay online is using a credit card. And we're going to share the answer to that later in the show. But that's one that I think we've all heard about. Should I use a credit card? Should I use a debit card? Should I use PayPal? All of these different things. So we're going to answer that later as well.
Okay. Now, here's something else I'm kind of interested about. An example of AI and voice cloning.
Yeah.
That's really become hard to determine whether or not something is AI, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's already become difficult to tell what's real and what's a fake, but AI has made it possible for scammers to pretend to be Elon Musk and sell cryptocurrency, or to be Bill Gates, or to be all kinds of people. And we have, I don't know if you want to show it now, but we have a clip of, I do a demonstration in the workshops that I give where we try and see if you can spot an AI voice versus the real voice. And I did 2 of those examples. One is me reading into a microphone, a short message, prevention message. And another, I have this software, it's really inexpensive. And that's an important point, how much access people have to this. For $20 a month, this program allows me to train my voice, to train the computer about my voice. I type that same paragraph, I press a button, and it kicks out me reading it. And it's not me reading it. So we have 2 examples. One's me actually reading into a microphone, and the other is AI. And you see if your audience can tell the difference.
Okay, let's see if you can figure out which one's real and which one's fake.
According to the FBI, the scam that has resulted in the most money lost to consumers in recent years was cyber phishing. Phishing occurs when scammers pose as a legitimate organization like your bank or a brand you recognize, and then claim they have detected suspicious activity on your account. The goal is to get you to hand over personal information like a login or password or a date of birth they can use to steal money from your accounts. According to the FBI, the scam that has resulted in the most money lost to consumers in recent years was cyber phishing. Phishing occurs when scammers pose as a legitimate organization like your bank or a brand you recognize, and then claim they have detected suspicious activity on your account. The goal is to get you to hand over personal information like a login or password or a date of birth they can use to steal money from your accounts.
Wow, what do you think, Tony? I know the answer, so I can't.
Okay, so how about we'll give you 3 seconds here, and I'll count it down, and then Doug will tell us which one is the real one. In 3, 2, 1.
The second one.
The second one was the real one.
Right.
So the first one was
Completely
a
fake generated. Yeah. And the thing to point out about this is it didn't take me, I know very little about how this works, but I was able to produce this. So think about how easy it would be for a scammer to start faking people's voices. And before, it took a lot of people's voice. Now you can do it in 10 seconds. You could pull a voice off TikTok. Someone could pull my daughter's voice off TikTok and train the computer with just 10 seconds now. So that's the thing we really have to watch for.
Are you really talking, or is this AI?
Yes, I am.
We'll see if his lips are moving. No, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we want to know what type of scams are you getting? Fake UPS delivery text, Amazon purchase emails? We want you to join the conversation. Give us a call at 877-283-7570. 877-283-7570. We have coolers to give away to 5 lucky callers tonight, and we'll be right back.
We used to say seeing is believing, but these days artificial intelligence, or AI, is making it very difficult to believe everything you see. Bad actors are constantly creating false media to trick you every day. Here are 3 ways you can detect AI video, audio, and images. If you're unsure the photo you see online is real, you can conduct a reverse image search. I've got a photo here of the Pope wearing a white puffer coat. This photo went viral on social media last year. One way to check if it's real is right-click on the image, click Search Image with Google, and then click Find Image Source. It takes just a few seconds to learn what credible news outlets can reveal about the image. There are other platforms that do this, including Yahoo or Bing, or if you're using a phone, try the Google Lens tool. If you're watching a video, look closely for odd details in the quality of the video. A blurry image where the speaker doesn't blink or their lips aren't syncing with what is being said are all telltale signs that the video is an AI-generated fake. In this video, we see Matthew Miller, State Department spokesman, identifying bombing targets in Russia.
We're aware that Belgorod, a Russian city roughly 45 miles from Ukrainian Kharkiv, has essentially no civilians remaining. It's practically full of military targets at this point.
I think it's pretty obvious this video is a fake. When it comes to audio, listen closely. Unnatural sounds and a strange cadence to the person's voice can be signs that audio is fake.
That's why watching how the corrupt officials who seized the sport Olympus are gradually turning one of the greatest passions of my life into an instrument for siphoning off money is beyond bearable.
Even more important than these audio inconsistencies is the content. If the message seems urgent, bizarre, or just plain unlikely, put on your skeptic's hat and fact check. Verify the content by searching for the same information on what you know to be a trusted site. If something sounds or looks too provocative to be true, chances are good that it's false. For more tech tips, visit aarp.org/tech.
Ads on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok can be creative and enticing, but they can sometimes be deceptive. Here are 4 ways to shop wisely on social media to get your money's worth. Check to see if the company is legitimate. Look for a physical address and phone number. If there's no address on the company's website, think twice about buying anything. Read the fine print. Look for spelling errors and odd disclaimers. Also, make sure they allow at least 30 days to make a return. Do your research. Do a search with the name of the company and the words fraud, complaint, or scam after it. Use other consumers' experiences to guide yours. And pay with a credit card. You can dispute charges and potentially get your money back if the item never comes or you're not satisfied and the company doesn't help you resolve your issue. For more tips, go to aarp.org/FraudWatchNetwork.
All right, welcome back to Rural America Live with AARP. 'Tis the season for scammers to ratchet up their criminal activity, ready to steal your hard-earned money. Well, I'm here with former fraud investigator Doug Shadell and Sarah Jennings, Regional Vice President for AARP, and they're sharing tips on how to spot the latest holiday scams before they damage your bank account. Now, we have 5 coolers to give away. This is no scam, by the way. You could be a winner. So pick up the phone. The lines are open. Give us a call, 877-283-7570. 877-283-7570, and join the conversation. Now, if you're not a lucky winner tonight, you can enter AARP's Second Chance Sweepstakes. Online, it's aarp.org/AARP Live. Or just scan the QR code on your screen to enter. 1 cooler given away each month. I'll announce the winner later in tonight's show. Rules apply. You can only win 1 time in a calendar year. Well, I know we have callers waiting, and we'll get to the phones quickly, but before we do that, Sarah, you've got a couple of convincing fake texts.
That's right. Yeah, and I think we're going to show them on the screen. This first one deals with cryptocurrency, and it makes you believe that you paid for something using cryptocurrency, and it gets you sort of anxious about, what's happening. Do I need to do something? If you look at this text, though, one thing to keep an eye out for is that it doesn't give any personalization in there. Excuse me. And so that's one hint that this is probably, number one, maybe you don't use cryptocurrency, so that might be another hint. But even in this, if you do use cryptocurrency, this is trying to get you either to click on that link or to download that PDF. And so whenever you see a text like this, that especially is very generic and that you know that you probably didn't do whatever it's asking you to confirm, don't click on any of those links, hit delete, and move on. This next one that I wanted to show you is one that, again, looks very real and makes you want to respond because it appears it is from a doctor's office. And so if you were like me, I would probably read this and be like, well, I didn't make that appointment. I better make sure that they know that they contacted the wrong person. And in this case, what they want you to do is to reply stop to opt out, because then they have confirmed that the number that they've sent to is a real working number and that someone's paying attention to it. So again, in this case, there's a hint there. It just says hi. It doesn't say hi, Sarah. And so again, when you're getting these various texts and emails, one of the big clues to look for to really give you a tip off that it's likely a scam is that there's no personalization anywhere in it. The second would be also if I didn't have a doctor's appointment scheduled, so therefore this seems probably not true. But again, don't click on that, delete it, report it as junk, and move on.
That one got me.
Yeah, did it? No. Yeah.
Dr. Kelly's my doctor.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So I would have fallen for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I probably would have hit stop.
Yes, right.
So don't do that.
Don't do that. And that happens so often. I mean, I think that's a great example that most of us at some point probably do something that we realize a split second later we shouldn't have. And so in those cases, just really, if you send stop, that one you probably won't know right away because they're going to come back at you another time. But if you click on a link or do any of that, you should really try to make sure that you can. And Doug, I don't know if you have tips about how you kind of undo if you click on one of these links. Then what do you do to try to protect yourself after the fact?
Well, if it's something that you have an account, like there's something wrong with your Amazon account or whatever, like you say, delete it and go in through your normal process to Amazon. One thing I want to mention on text, because this is really happening, and I'd like your viewers to call in if they get one of these. I've gotten a lot of these which it says, Jim, is that you? I thought I missed your call. Or it's some statement that's not about your dentist, but it's just a random, hey, I missed you or something. And these are scammers from all over the world who are sending these out by the millions, these texts. And all they're trying to do is get you to respond. And, it's a mistake. But while I've got you, and then they try and sell you cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. So again, delete any text. And what I try and say to people is any incoming that you did not initiate, whether it's a call, a text, an email, assume there's something wrong with it.
Great advice.
Until you hear otherwise.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the phone lines, and we'll start in North Carolina. That's where Sarah is. Hi, Sarah. What question do you have for us?
Hi. Well, it wasn't a question. It was just a warning because somebody tried to scam me today, as a matter of fact.
Well, tell us about what happened.
I received a text, and it looked, of course, legitimate from my phone company. And I'd been receiving quite a few texts the last few weeks because I'd been out of the country. And so I was used to getting texts from them. But when this one came in, it said something about I needed to contact them immediately, or I was going to be losing my 50% discount on my services. And I was like, I don't think I get a 50% discount. I want to know more about that. And instead of tapping and doing it the link they gave me, I looked up the phone number I had for my phone account and called them directly. And of course, it was a scam. And no, I don't receive 50%, but while I was on there making sure my account was safe, I was able to negotiate a plan. So it ended up being a good thing, but they did try to scam me.
Good for you, Sarah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That's smart.
You know, I would have never thought about that. But how many times do we get communication from the phone company, and you think, yeah, this is legitimate?
Oh, I tell you, and I have this consulting client who I monitors a bunch of their phone lines. One of the most prevalent ones is, "Hi, this is Spectrum. You just deserve a 50% discount. Press 1." And then you're talking to somebody, and the whole thing is a scam. And they send these out, hundreds of thousands of calls at a time, hoping someone will respond. So again, as Sarah said, just don't respond. Whether it's a text or whether it's a call or whether it's an email, just don't respond. Delete key is your friend.
Well, and what Sarah did was perfect, right? She saw it. She knew it was too good to be true, so she questioned it for a second, and then she initiated the contact with the actual phone company using numbers she knew. So that was perfect and exactly what all of us need to do, especially this time of year.
Okay, let's go to the land of enchantment. That's where Carla is. Carla, by the way, congratulations. You're a winner tonight. What do you have for us? Carla, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, I'm here.
Well,
Hi.
tell us do you have a question, or did somebody try to scam you?
Oh, no, I've definitely been scammed. So with a major bank, I kept getting like checks that were going through my account. And of course, once a check hits, they deduct the money, but I had never written these checks. And so I've filed complaints, and they tell me that it's under investigation. They've kind of progressed it, but they can't, I guess, find who it was that wrote the checks. And I've lost quite a bit of money because of that.
And it was a major bank, right?
Yes, it was.
So, again.
Well, I mean, one of the problems, check fraud, believe it or not, is coming back. And part of the reason it's coming back, people still use checks, especially our people use checks. But it's so easy to scan a check and then just change the information and start writing checks. So she did the right thing by contacting her bank. I would also suggest that she contact the State Attorney General's office and file a complaint. Also with the Department of Financial Institutions in what state was she?
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Yeah, financial institutions. Even though the bank is saying they're working on it, put some heat on them. File a complaint with the Attorney General's office.
I think that's a great advice too, Doug, because I think often these seem so prevalent and they seem sort of like not that big of a deal, so people don't file complaints. What's your advice on that in general? In general,
file complaints. I used to work for the Attorney General's office in Washington, and the thing is, if we don't file complaints, you don't know about it. And they can't, so they for sure won't do anything about it. They can't act and sue everybody who files a complaint. But these patterns emerge when everybody's reporting it. And so report.
That helps other people when you report.
Definitely. Okay, I'm going to throw one more in before we go to Earl, who's in Virginia. Earl, hang on. Here's another one. If you write a check and they scan the check, it obviously comes out of your bank account, but then they can take that check and go deposit it and hit you a second time if you're not careful. I've already had that happen once. Yeah.
Okay.
And now they weren't intentionally, I don't think, trying to scam us, but it was one where we had that money debited out of our account twice. So again, pay attention to things like that. Okay, we're going to Virginia. Earl, what do you have for us?
Hey, Tony and Doug and Sherry. I was calling to make those of us who are military veterans aware that, especially people like myself, a Vietnam era veteran, because of that, because of my age, and because of just our veteran status, that kind of makes us a double threat target for the scammers, because they can get all that information they need. They know that we're veterans. They know that we're in the latter years of our lives, actually, and that makes us a double whammy target. So I would like you guys, if you would, to address that and give us some ways that we can protect ourselves.
Sure. Well, first, thank you for your service, Earl, and to all the veterans out there. And it is true that veterans are targeted all of the time with different scams. One that I would share is that, and I think most veterans would know, that you don't have to pay to get your service records and copies of things, but often you will get hit with requests to spend money to either expedite getting a copy of your records or some of those other services that you get as a veteran, but that these scammers try to get you to pay for. So that's one that I would definitely make sure that folks are watching out for. And Doug, do you have other ones that you'd lift up or just advice to give?
Yeah, well, one thing, I did a study at AARP about 5 years ago where we interviewed veterans and the general population, and veterans were twice as victimized by fraud as the general population. And one reason, I think, is they have a steady paycheck that could be garnished or they can be tricked out of by paying a lump sum. That's one of the scams. But the other thing is, a lot of these scams will say, hey, you're a veteran, I'm a veteran. And that familiarity that we're in the same group, makes them trust you more. It builds trust quicker because we're both veterans. Also, charities, we're talking this time of year with charitable solicitations. Veterans get hit really hard with paralyzed veterans organizations. Just make sure before you give that you have, as Sarah said, checked out the charity. Ask them, how much of my contribution goes to the charitable purpose versus to the cost of fundraising? And if they hang up on you, like they might, then don't give to them. And then you can verify it, because a lot of these operations keep most of the money for themselves. So,
all right, let's go to Illinois now. And we have another winner. It's Laura. Hi, Laura. What do you have for us tonight?
Hi. When I do my, first of all, hello. When I do my ordering online, I always go through PayPal, because I'm under the impression that when I go through PayPal that my information is blocked from the company that I'm ordering from. Is that true or not?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, go for it, Doug.
Well, I use PayPal too. When I talk to groups, I encourage people to use some kind of a digital wallet. That's what they're called, is a digital wallet. And why is that? Because just as the caller suggested, if you're shopping at 10 different websites and you have to leave your card number with 10 different people, chances are better that somebody might hack into one of those 10 and steal your card. If it's just one, PayPal doesn't transmit, she's right, your number to all of those places. So using a digital wallet is a good idea. But when you use a digital wallet, make sure that you back it up with a credit card and not your checking account or with a debit card, because those are not as safe, you might say.
Well, and that answers the question that we brought up before. That I said I was going to.
That is a great point.
So we
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to answer that.
So in the survey, over half of respondents to our survey that we were talking about earlier in the show got this wrong. But indeed, a credit card is the safest way to shop when you're shopping online. And that's because there's a lot of protections built into your credit card. So again, use a credit card. That's the answer. That's the best way to shop it. As Doug just described, using the digital wallet is a smart way to go.
What if you've always used a debit card, Sarah, and it's hard to change?
Well, that would be, there's something that's called. It's called status quo bias, Doug.
What's that?
And it just means that it's hard to change. Even if you know you should, it's still hard to change. Yeah, so and all of us need to fight that.
You are a font of knowledge.
I'm trying to be tonight. Trying.
Thank you.
I need to stay out of that. That's too good. But hey, let's go back to the land of enchantment. It's New Mexico and Minton's there. Okay, do you have one for us?
We scared him away.
Yes, hello?
Hi. What do you have for us tonight?
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you for taking the call. Yes, my name is Nitin from New Mexico. I wanted to report a scam that I've heard lately from one of my relatives. It's happening. Basically, where the scam starts with a message on WhatsApp from an unknown number, but they have a wedding invitation. And so along with the message, there's a file attached, and essentially looks very genuine, but unfortunately it has a dangerous APK file. When the unsuspecting recipient downloads the file or opens it, a malicious application, then the user basically downloads the information from the mobile phone and then uses it for malicious purposes.
Did you say a wedding invitation? A wedding invitation?
We lost him.
Did we lose him? Yeah. This raises a point, though, about just malicious or unsolicited anything. I've heard about these where there's apparently a Facebook scam where you can order. You don't have to go to the wedding, but you can somehow get on Zoom at a price or whatever. But what he was talking about is when you be careful clicking on apps or ads anywhere, because that malicious downware can create or software can create a pop-up that happens a week later, a month later. And I'd like your audience to call in if they've gotten one of these, because our audiences get a lot of them. Have you ever gotten something on your computer? You're on your computer and all of a sudden this screen comes up and it says, virus, your computer's infected. Call this 800 number, and there's a siren, and it says, don't turn off your computer. I'd like to know if there's anybody out there who's had that happen.
It's happened to me.
Okay, me too. And we can talk about what the right answer is there to do. But what happens is if you call the number, now you're talking to a boiler room in Pakistan or India. They want you to let you remote access into their computer, and that's not good. The thing to do is to just turn the computer off. Hold the power button down for 5 seconds, reboot it, and it goes away. What that is just you've clicked on an ad, and it could be as innocuous as a dog food ad, and it downloads a little JavaScript, a little piece of software that will create that pop-up. So it's benign. When you reboot your computer, it goes away, and there's nothing wrong with your computer. But if you don't know that, you call the 800 in a panic during the holidays. Oh, my God, I'm in the middle of my shopping. I can't have my computer blow up. Right. And so it works.
Doug, one other thing, just going back to what Nitin had said about an extension, file extensions. If there's an extension in that, let's say an email, make sure it's an extension that you recognize.
Yeah.
Exactly?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Because it could also download, something that would record everything you type on your computer. Be very careful about what you click on out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Nevada, can we? We've got a winner there, and it's James. Hi, James. Thanks for calling. What do you have for us?
Hey, great. I've never won anything.
And by the way, it's not a scam. You really won tonight.
Yeah.
No, really.
Okay. Well, what I do, give you my address when this conversation is over, or what?
Yeah, we'll take care of that in just a moment. But what do you have for us tonight?
Okay, well, I have had that pop up about, like you were just talking about on the computer too, but 3 times I have ordered things from Amazon, and I'll get an email from either USP or FedEx in San Francisco saying I owe more postage, and they want my financial information in order to charge me the extra postage, which I get rid of it, and my package always comes. But I was talking to my sister, and the same thing has happened to her. She lives here in Las Vegas, too, at the same San Francisco place. I've reported it, but I've never heard any more about it. But that's what I wanted to call and talk about.
Well, we're glad you called. Thanks for sharing that. So, again, one of those where it seems legitimate, right?
Yeah, and the caller sort of implied there might be a connection between him, ordering something on Amazon and that email or that text, and there probably isn't. There probably isn't. Amazon is not generating these scams. The scams happen. I mean, they're sending out hundreds of thousands of them randomly. It's a numbers game, and they're bound to hit people who just ordered something.
Right.
So you think there's a connection, but there isn't. So he did the right thing by ignoring it. So.
And it is a good, the different shipping notification scams, they can come with by asking you for money, like in that one where they're saying that you need to pay more. It can come just with a link so you can see the updated delivery status and that sort of thing. So almost any of those, if they're not coming directly from Amazon in the way that you've said you want to get notified through email or through a text, are going to be scams. And so don't click on anything, delete it.
All right. How about we go to Nebraska now? Terry is on the line. Hi, Terry. What do you have for us?
Good evening. Anyway, I was just kind of wondering what you have tips or advice as far as a credit card getting compromised, or however you want to say it. I had gotten maybe about a week ago or so, I had gotten a notification from my credit card company wanting to know if I had made a charge to Best Buy, and as it turns out, I didn't make that charge. So it was kind of lucky that they let me know. That's one good thing about the credit card companies for the most part. But so they had to issue me a new card, and that took about a week or so. But do you have any tips or advice on how to protect a number from being stolen, or however you want to say?
Yes, I do. Well, I don't have a tip about how to avoid it being stolen, because that can happen and it's out of your control. But here's what I do. I have one credit card, one checking account, and on my credit card account, I tell my bank, if this is ever used for any reason, even by me, I want an email notification. And last week, I got an email notification, not unlike the caller. So it's not an accident they're calling me. I get this notification, $1,200 to Southwest Airlines for an airline ticket that I did not buy. So within 2 minutes, I'm on the phone to my bank. Within 3 minutes, they're canceling my card and issuing me a new one, just like the gentleman did. But don't wait for them to accidentally do that. Contact your bank, and they will, for free, do this notification service for you. And that's a form of monitoring. Monitoring is the key to this, because we can't control all the time all the information that's out there about us, but we can monitor. And that means anytime anybody uses your card, including yourself, you'll know about it. So that's my tip. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And I'll be honest, I just want to carry cash around. I kind of want to go back to the days when I still carry a $2 bill around. So, I like to pay with cash, but I guess the bottom line is we can't go back to the way things were before, and scammers are here, and these things it's just a way of life now, right?
It is, and as Sarah alluded to, maybe I can't remember if we went this far with the credit cards, but under federal law, if there is someone who compromises your credit card, the bank is responsible for all but $50, and normally they will cover all of it. So you are basically 100% covered against fraud if you use a credit card. If you use a debit card, not so much, because that goes directly into your checking account, and they could drain your entire checking account. And some of it could come back, but that's why we're so adamant about using credit cards.
And so, Doug, if I have a card that is both a credit and a debit card, I should always choose credit.
Yes, that's true. There are some cards that will do that.
Yeah.
Will let you do both. But yeah, that's another good point.
And is there any magic to that little silver chip that's on my credit card?
Well,
days?
I recently learned a little magic trick about that.
Did you?
Yeah. You know how when you go to the store, you can either just hover over the credit card thing, or you can swipe it?
Yep.
And I learned from a U.S. attorney last week that chip codes your number so it's much safer to hold it over the thing. I didn't know this before because it codes the number so that the number doesn't go to the vendor. So then you're not sharing your number. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. No,
I thought it was. I learned something new.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I had some cash right now, I would pay you for that tip. Unfortunately, all I have is a debit card.
Or your $2 bill.
We'll take the debit card.
Your $2 bill.
We'll take your debit card.
Well, and a lot of the machines have that hover over, or you can insert it, and that also protects it and uses the little card. What doesn't is when you swipe, because that's using the old barcode technology. So whenever you can, make sure that you're activating the little silver code on the card.
There it is.
The scientific name for that is the silver code on the card.
The little thingy on the card.
All right, so we have Jack on the line in New York. Jack, hang on. We're going to come to you in just a moment. We've got to take a short break, but when we do come back, we'll still have a cooler to give away, so give us a call. Lines are open right now, 877-283-7570, 877-283-7570. We're having a good time tonight. Hang around and join the conversation. Welcome back. We still have a cooler to give away, but as promised, I want to announce our second chance winner from October. You ready? From Nashville, Tennessee, it's Cindy H. Congratulations, Cindy, our winner. And since you provided your information, when you scan the QR code, your cooler is probably on its way.
Awesome.
All right, you ready to go back to the phone lines?
Yes.
And in New York, we've got Jack waiting for us. And Jack, congratulations. Not only are we talking to you tonight, you're a winner. So what do you have for us?
Well, recently I had someone try to hack my bank. And I was very fortunate the bank stopped it. I had never heard of these people before, but as it is, by dumb luck, I happened to go on to Walmart to do some online shopping. Come to find out, this company is a third party for them that takes your information and basically has control on your account. When I talked to the people at Walmart and let them know what had happened, they kind of shrugged it off, even though I felt it was my duty to let them know that it's not that safe.
Yep, good point there.
Yeah, definitely letting know, and I think part of that was about the customer service access. And I think one important thing for everyone to know is that sometimes you'll get a scam that is or you're trying to access customer service, or they're offering to do something for you, maybe at a merchant you recently shopped at, and they'll ask you for your login information to get access to the customer service, and that is also never the case. You do not need to provide your login information to a retailer that you are doing business with ever. So just make sure that's another one of those red flags, that if someone asks you for your login information, do not give it. Just hang up or delete the email or the text and move on, because that's a scam.
All right. Number tonight is 877-283-7570. And it's safe to call that number, 877-283-7570. We'd really like to hear if you've had a scam or if something like that's happened to you. We'd love to hear from you tonight. Let's go to Saskatchewan now. And Greg is on the line. Hi, Greg.
Hello. How are you?
Never better. Thanks for calling tonight. So, did you have somebody try to scam you?
Well, I get about once a week, we get a call here, and what they do is, it must be robocalling. They'll do a call at noon or rough that time, and nobody's on it. You just pick it up like a dead. And then about 2 hours later, you'll get the recorded message. And a lot of times they use Amazon out here. They'll just say there's been a suspicious amount on your Amazon account. We flagged it. If you want to cancel it, press 1. Well, I've never bought anything in my life from Amazon, so I know it's a scam. But and they'll do it about at least once a week. And I usually, another time, I'll press 1 and insult them pretty hard. So they must not know the number. They must use a robocall and just whenever it must be, and you'll hear people talking in the background. Sounds like a big room. So it must be a lot of them doing this. Is that what they do, robocalling? And where would they come from? Which country is kind of famous for that?
Doug's got great information on this one, but also Greg is exactly right about what's happening. And that the first time you pick it up, I think one thing that happens is they now realize it's a real number, so therefore they're going to keep calling you and calling you back. But Doug has a lot of great information about these terrible operations all over the world.
Yeah, I do consulting for this company called Nova Robo, which blocks these calls, but I monitor. They have 350,000 phone lines that they monitor. And these calls come in, and Amazon is always at the top of the list. Amazon's a legitimate company. We all use them, but they're also spoofed more than almost any other brand. Walmart is too, by the way. And yeah, it's like somebody just bought an iPhone using your Amazon account for $1,279. How do I know that amount? Because that's always the amount. And they're just trying to scare you into calling. You know, these scams can be divided into scare tactics and promise of financial gain, right? Threat of loss, promise of financial gain. Almost everything falls into one of those two categories, and it's designed to get your anxiety up so that you can respond. What happens when you press 1? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I've done this. I've pressed 1. Now you're talking to a boiler room in India, and they're like, oh my God, somebody's hacked into your account. We have to go in there and change it right away. Let me remote access into your account. And they'll walk you through how to download software that allows them to remote access into your account, into your computer. And now they're in your computer and they can do all kinds of bad things. So that's what happens, and he's smart to, he doesn't have Amazon, but so many of us do. Yeah. That makes it credible.
Right. Well, and he was asking, are there certain countries where there's more of these boiler rooms in operation, or is it just everywhere?
It's everywhere. It is everywhere. All it takes is a laptop and a Wi-Fi access, and you're in business. And it's so inexpensive to make for $100 you can make, 50,000 phone calls. Wow. So there's no barriers to entry for people, and they can be in their living room doing this.
You know, one place, I don't think there are any scams happening in North Carolina, or maybe there is. This is not a scam because Sally has won tonight, and Sally is from North Carolina. You're our final winner tonight. Sally, what do you have for us tonight?
Yep, I got scammed, and I thought it was totally legit. I buy T-shirts from the Life is Good company. And so I receive their emails. I follow them on Facebook. I wear their shirts. I'm wearing one right now. Okay. And one night I got a pop-up thing, and I thought it was an ad for a Life is Good sale. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I started ordering a couple shirts, and a little pop-up thing said, oh, if you spend $50, you'll get free shipping. And I was like, well, no problem. I can spend $50. And I ordered the shirts, and I thought it was legit the whole time I was doing it. I received an email with a tracking number, and I thought, well, I don't care right now. They'll come in a few days. A few days later, I was like, oh, I'll check that tracking number to see when the T-shirts are coming. And something in the email didn't sound right. It didn't sound like it was probably originally in English or something. I forget now. But and up at the top, it looked like it was from lifeisgood.com. But when you clicked the down arrow in the email, it said something totally different. And I Googled that word, and it said, yeah, you probably got scammed, or you're probably going to get something but not what you think you ordered. And I called and canceled my credit card immediately. They were great about canceling it. And then I called Life is Good, their real number, to warn them. And they're like, oh, honey, it happens all the time. And I said, well, it looks legit. It's your pictures of your T-shirts. And they said, yeah, we know. We can't really do anything about it. And I should have known, just because they had all my favorite shirts in my size, in my favorite colors. So, but
It's a
Didn't get
great
any
brand, though,
t-shirts
and that
week.
that kind of thing happens all of the time when they can. And is it called spoofing when they kind of do the? But I mean, it's like they basically replicate the website or the logo so that when you're getting those things, the pop-ups, and it does look legitimate. So, what are the things you look for if you get kind of a pop-up ad like that, Doug, to make sure that it is legit? 'Cause
I
that's
don't click on any pop-ups. Again, there are these 4 channels. There's phone, there's text, there's email, there's pop-ups. Those are the 4 main channels. Anytime you get a solicitation, I hate to say this, but anytime you get anything from them, you did not initiate the contact, you should immediately delete it. And if you're worried about the account that they're saying imposter fraud in the United States has gone up 1,200% in the last 5 years. Imposter fraud being pretending to be a brand name and not being that brand name. You know, Amazon or Spectrum or Xfinity or Life is Good. So you just have to be skeptical.
Okay, we only have a few minutes left, but we get to final thoughts, and we want to recognize a very special and very important person. Margie Finn Frame has been the creative mind behind the content for these Rural America Live with AARP programs for the last 10 plus years. Her work earned this program a prestigious Gold Telly Award for public awareness programming. After 32 years as a senior producer with AARP Studios, Margie is retiring. We want to recognize and thank her for her dedication producing these informative and entertaining programs all these years. And while the show must go on, you'll be missed, Margie.
She certainly will. Look at that. And look at this. Boy, oh, wait, which way? Margie.
Yeah. She's on the cover of
She's on
AARP
the
magazine.
No,
It doesn't
Margie,
get any bigger than that.
Margie has done an incredible job leading our team over these past few years, and it has been a joy. She's made the show better, and she's made it a lot more fun. So thank you, Margie.
Okay, kind of into our final thoughts here. Any other final thoughts before we go?
Well, I just wanted to share a resource. So we have lots of the information that we shared tonight and even more on our website, which is aarp.org/AARP Live. So again, aarp.org, and then just put /AARP Live, the name of the show. Lots more information there. Don't click on the links. If you didn't initiate it, be skeptical and have an amazing holiday season.
Okay. Doug, what final thoughts?
I just think going into the holiday season, I know we've said this before, but I've done a lot of research about victims and people who lose money, and it's almost always because we're, quote, under the ether, that is in a heightened emotional state or stressed out, and everybody is stressed out during the holidays. There's nothing wrong with you if you're stressed out. Just don't make rash financial decisions. You know, and watch for these things that we've covered tonight: fake delivery texts, fake job ads. People are looking for work. You know, it's expensive to live. Fake websites. This is another thing. There are over 100,000 fake phishing websites created every week, if you can believe that, on the web. 100,000. Wow. And AI-generated voice messages like the one we kind of fooled some people on, not many of your audience, because they're pretty smart. But, you know, when I'm in a room with that same exercise, about 50% of the room gets it wrong. And the point of it is not, can you get it right, can you get it wrong? But you see how hard it is to tell?
Yeah.
It's just getting harder and harder to tell. So that's it.
And, you know, I think one other thing to keep in mind is if this happens to you, you're not alone.
Oh,
it's happened to all of us. So don't beat yourself up over this.
That's right.
You know, it does it for tonight and our final show of the year with AARP. We will be back in the new year and on a new day and a new time, Mondays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And you know what? We'll see you then. I hope you come back and join us in the new year. Thanks so much and good night.